didn't see you there.
Hey.
Well, welcome to January 1st Collective's Chips and Salsa versus Free Trade Cooking.
Boy, I can hardly wait. I love salsa. You know, chips, salsa, beer, watching the game, it's amazing. Especially the salsa's got a little kick to it. You know, like a real killer salsa.
Yes. Yes, and actually a killer salsa will make. But not just any killer salsa, a free trade killing salsa.
Whoa, that sounds intense.
So, in order to do that, of course, we need a nice kitchen like we have. You can use your own kitchen, it might be, a bit tinier, whatever. But you need some ingredients, bowls, ingredients, cutting boards, and knives, of course.
Oh, yeah. Now check this out. This knife is pretty dull. I bet you it's one of those cheap knives from China.
Yeah.
I can't use that.
You're probably right. But don't you hear this all the time? Cheap stuff from China doesn't cut it, it's just crap. Well, actually, I mean, while that might be true for some stuff, like some of the quality might not be great, let's also think of the workers, the Chinese workers that are trying to make a living off of it. They don't make this stuff because they want it or because they're proud of it. They do it because it's a job, because they have to.
And the conditions they work in are probably pretty bad as well.
Yes, so always let's think of the workers that, and they're resisting as well. Like when we fight for our rights as workers, as people, for our dignity, they're the same. They're fighting for their own rights, and sometimes against huge things like free trade agreements, just as we are.
People fighting for their rights, that sounds great.
But that's the start for the salsa.
All right.
And of course, the base of our salsa is tomatoes. So let's go for a tomato, which actually this is pretty nice.
Yeah, I got these up at the store just around the corner. It's fantastic. I think these are Italian Roma tomatoes, I think they're called. And those Italians, they love their tomatoes.
Of course, you cannot have Italian food without tomatoes, or at least not very easily. But actually, tomatoes come from the Valley of Mexico. The word tomato comes from the Nahuatl word tomato.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And actually, one of the contradictions of that, or one of the ironies of life, is that these tomatoes that originate from Mexico are actually grown here in Canada.
Hey!
Yeah.
Local BC content? Can't beat that, really.
Yeah. Canadian content. Unfortunately, the people who pick these tomatoes, the people who work on the greenhouses, can't be Canadian content even if they wanted to, because they're temporary workers. They're not allowed to stay, and if they want to stay, or if they want to have their rights respected, they are shipped back. They're just disposed of.
Oh, that's not good.
No, not a good Canadian content story. So, again, whenever we're doing this work, whenever we're eating our food, whenever we're enjoying life, let's think of people who produce and touch our lives as well.
Yeah, we often don't think about that while we're eating. You're right.
All right, so tomatoes go into the bowl, and don't chop them too small because, of course, they're gonna get all mushy.
All right.
And the next thing for the salsa is your avocados.
Avocados.
So avocados, and this is a nice one, really nice and plump. Incredible, you can get this ripe avocados anytime you want.
Hey, yeah, up at the corner store, it's a 24/7 store, and I can go in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, and get myself a ripe avocado, and they never seem to run out on the shelves. It's always full. That's amazing.
24/7 avocados and tomatoes. Well, I wish we had that. But back in Mexico, when I was a kid, and if you wanted something that wasn't in season, there's no way you're gonna get it. The tree doesn't open 24/7 for you.
Yeah, well, that's true too.
And that is one of the issues of free trade and all of this production of food in a global market, is that we are disconnected from nature. We're disconnected from the seasons. We imagine that things grow in the supermarket because they're always there.
Well, but there is those, community gardens. People are trying to grow their own tomatoes and grow their own vegetables and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that seems like a good thing, don't you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm totally for it. But how many people can you feed on the little plot in the back of your backyard?
Well, that's true.
The problem with this is that we have to think about the systems of production. Who produces the food? Do we know who is it? How they do it? Where it goes? This is the problem that we have. So our salsa, of course, avocado and tomatoes. The next ingredients are not as exciting. Maybe we need onion and we need garlic. And yeah, you do the onion.
I'll do the onion.
And of course, these things usually also come from China, sometimes from the States.
Huh.
And again, not to beat on a dead horse, but let's think of this demonizing of Chinese products and workers. The Chinese workers are fighting not only their government, but also international trade agreements like the TPP, the Pacific Partnership, which actually the Canadian government is supporting. Whenever they want to have their rights respected or their environment protected, Canadian corporations and the Canadian government is telling them no, it can't happen. So it's important that we think of this and we recognize the links. They're fighting for the same things that we are.
Yeah, often we don't think of the workers, and it seems in these free trade agreements, it's mostly the corporations that are making the profits, and the workers are being exploited. I mean, this doesn't seem right.
No, not at all. And that's why we say we're not against the idea of exchange and barter and trade and this kind of stuff. But free trade means free for all, and that's just not fair. Free for a corporation to make profit while people suffer, that's not a good deal. And so it's not a good deal also for a salsa to not have the rest of the ingredients. So we have most of the things here. Now we need to make it have a kick. And of course, one of the kicks is the lime, and it's the hot pepper, and it's the salt. So, yeah, like Dave is showing you, a good trick is to massage your lime, to give it a little rub, so that when you squeeze it, it's easy to work with. And in the meantime, I'm chopping here this hot pepper.
So where do the limes come from?
Well, limes, like we cannot grow citrus in Canada, so usually they come from Mexico. In fact, these things are actually kind of expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, I used to get 3 for $1. Now this was 99 cents for one. Is this just corporations trying to make more money off of us, or what?
Well, it seems almost criminal, right? And actually, it's more than just the pretense. These limes, and actually the avocados as well, they come from Mexico, and they are now being controlled in some sections of Mexico by cartels, like literal criminal cartels that can chop your head off if they don't like you.
I mean, they're not just dealing drugs, now they're dealing limes?
Yeah, now you can get into trouble with cartels for buying avocados and limes.
Well, I hope our faces are being blanked out right now. We don't want to be at the end of the rope someplace
Yes.
off a bridge.
Oh, but unfortunately, people in Mexico and other places cannot have their faces blanked. Many people are fighting, they're trying to be organized. You probably have heard this auto-defenses. In English, I don't know why they tend to call them vigilante groups. But they are pretty much community-based police forces or defense forces for the community. Nothing like the actual police. To defend themselves against these cartels. So now we have this spicy salsa. We just need to add a little bit of salt, and it's all ready to fire us up. It's crazy that we went to war over stuff like salt.
It's unbelievable these days, but of course we're going to war over oil and gas,
Yeah.
and soon we're probably going to go to war over water.
Yeah, and again, this is why this salsa pretends to be a free trade killing salsa. But we have our salt, we have our fire of our spiciness, but there's of course a thing missing. How do you eat it? You don't eat it with your hands. We need chips.
Corn.
Yes, and this is Canadian corn.
Oh, those things are gluten-free. Those are cholesterol-free.
Yeah.
Those are free range, probably. I don't know.
Yes, of course, this corn roams the range freely. And actually, do you know who eats the most corn in the world these days?
Well, I'm going to guess Mexicans. You know, with the tortillas and the tacos and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's actually people in the US, and not just people, also the cows that are in the US. Because now we use this corn, and not just for actual production of food, but also to feed the cattle, to make fuel, and to make all kinds of plastic-like products and all kinds of other things. And the craziness is that the place where corn was born, Mexico, now imports corn from the States.
That is crazy. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes, so again, the issue of free trade is that we have a system that is free for all, that allows people with no remorse, like cartels controlling avocados and limes, to run the system, and things like corn to be used for all kinds of things other than food, without our consent, without our input. This salsa is good to go. We're ready to roll, but it's not quite free trade killing salsa just yet.
Oh,
Because
another ingredient?
there's another thing that needs to go into this salsa, and we're sure gonna enjoy it. But in order for this to be free trade killing, there's a few things that you need to do, and here's how you can help. And thanks for joining.